In part 1 and 2, we see Nnadi as a young, ambitious farmer whose hunger for wealth leads him down a dangerous path. He stumbles upon a forgotten shrine deep in the forest and trades his father's sacred staff, his true inheritance, for riches beyond his imagination. Overnight, his barns overflow, his livestock multiply, and his name spreads like wildfire through the village. What begins as wonder soon turns to worship, as the villagers bow before his sudden power. Nnadi basks in his glory, marrying the wise Adana and dressing himself in wealth as if it were armor. But pride takes root in his heart, twisting his generosity into arrogance and severing the bonds of friendship he once shared. He mocks the poor, dismisses the elders, and laughs at every warning, convinced that the gods favor him alone. Subtle signs of decay begin to surface. Rotting yams, missing goats, whispers in the night, but he turns a blind eye. The elders watch in silence, sensing the storm gathering beyond his sight. By the time footsteps echo outside his window, Nnadi's rise has already set the stage for a haunting fall. Let us continue. The market day dawned bright, with the cries of traders rising like bird song. The air was thick with the smell of roasted maize, smoked fish, and freshly tapped palm wine. Drums echoed, laughter spilled, cowries clinked. And in the center of it all walked Nnadi, wrapped in flowing cloth, coral beads glistening around his neck, ivory bangles rattling like the tail of a snake. The crowd parted as he passed. Some bent in greeting. Others bowed. But many only watched in silence, their eyes filled with something that was not admiration, something darker. He stopped at a stall where kola nuts were piled high. The trader, an old woman with gray hair tied in a scarf, bowed low. "Nnadi, son of the gods," she said, her voice trembling, "accept this kola as a gift." Nnadi laughed, tossing a handful of cowries into her basket. "Keep your gift, old woman. I do not eat what is given. I buy what I desire." The crowd chuckled nervously, but the old woman only shook her head, her eyes clouded with warning. It was then, as the market swelled with noise, that a beggar appeared. He was thin as a broomstick, his wrapper torn, his feet bare and blistered. His eyes, sunken, hollow, fixed on Nnadi. He shuffled forward, leaning on a crooked staff, and stretched out a trembling hand. "Nnadi," he croaked, his voice hoarse but oddly familiar. "Have mercy. Just a yam. Just one morsel of bread. I have not eaten in days." The crowd fell silent. All eyes turned to Nnadi. For a moment, Nnadi's jaw tightened. His barns were overflowing. His goats grazed fat in his compound. But his heart, swollen with pride, felt no pity. He threw back his head and laughed, a sharp, cutting sound. "Old man, do I look like the keeper of beggars? If you hunger, go and farm. Or beg the gods who made you so pitiful. You are not my concern." Then, in a cruel flourish, he bent, scooped a handful of dust from the ground, and flung it into the beggar's face. The beggar staggered, coughing, his eyes flashing with something more than pain. He straightened slowly, his frail body trembling as if it carried a storm within. And in a voice that suddenly grew deep, resonant, like thunder rolling across the sky, he said, "Nnadi, son of Ojugo, have you forgotten your father?" The market froze. The air thickened. Even the goats stopped bleeding. Nnadi's heart hammered in his chest. What nonsense do you speak, old man? My father is long gone." But the beggar stepped closer, his back straightening, his voice echoing louder. "Your father, who placed his staff in your hands and told you, 'This is your inheritance. Guard it well. Your father, whose bones lie restless because his son sold his memory for cowries and goats. Have you forgotten, Nnadi? The people gasped. A murmur swept through the market like a wind. His father's spirit, his father's ghost. Nnadi stumbled back, sweat breaking across his brow. Why? You are nothing but a mad beggar. But as he shouted, the beggar's eyes glowed faintly like embers in the dark. His voice dropped to a whisper that slithered through the air, yet every ear heard it. The staff was not yours to give. You have traded blood for wealth. And now the earth itself will drink from you. Then, as suddenly as he had come, the beggar vanished. No one saw him leave. One moment he was there, the next only dust swirled where he had stood. The market erupted in chaos. Some ran, crying out that a spirit had walked among them. Others whispered that Nnadi was cursed. Children clung to their mothers' wrappers, wide-eyed with fear. Nnadi stood trembling, his proud garments damp with sweat. He tried to laugh, to wave it off. Spirits? Bah! It was only a madman, he shouted. But his voice cracked, and the people heard fear where he wished to show strength. That night sleep did not come. When Nnadi closed his eyes, he saw the beggar's face, the glowing eyes, the accusing stare. When he tossed on his bed, he heard whispers in the dark. Guard it well, guard it well. The words of his father echoed like a drumbeat in his skull. His wife, Adana, touched his arm gently. Nnadi, what troubles you? But he shook her hand away, his pride choking him. Nothing. Nothing troubles me. Yet his eyes betrayed him, wide and haunted. Days passed and the curse grew stronger. The yams in his barn began to rot, one after the other, until the air reeked with decay. His goats grew thin, their bones jutting out despite full feed. Servants began to leave quietly in the night, whispering that their master's wealth was cursed. The villagers avoided his compound, crossing to the other side of the path whenever they saw him. Mothers pulled their children close, muttering prayers under their breath. And still in the dead of night he heard it. Footsteps circling his house, slow and deliberate. When he ran outside, lantern shaking in his hand, he found nothing but shadows. One night, as the wind howled and the moon hid behind clouds, the footsteps came again. But this time a voice followed. Soft at first, then louder it called, Nnadi, Nnadi, my son. His blood froze. For it was his father's voice. Was that truly his father's spirit, or the same dark shrine mocking him? Do you believe Nnadi deserves forgiveness, or is his fate already sealed?